Hey team, Yasin here, and in this training, we're going to be going over clearing the clutter. Now, this activity and this training is going to be absolutely critical to make sure that we are setting up the foundations for your new life, for your new income, for your new career, and really to be able to make sure that we are getting rid of the old and making sure that we are making space for the new, right? And so what we're doing here is, remember, we're continuing with our theme of setting up your foundations so that way you can make sure that you are making a six-figure income online with remote wellness, okay? And so clearing the clutter is basically going to be an activity where we're gonna go ahead and clear out what we call like the old furniture, right? Before we bring in the new furniture in what we call three crucial areas of our lives, okay? Now, the other thing I also want you to remember is that, remember, you're on two journeys, right? You're on this journey for yourself, and you are also on this journey for your clients. And so right now you're going to be doing this activity for yourself, but in the future, you're also going to be helping your clients go through this as well, okay? And so also for yourself, we're going to be repeating this in upcoming modules with about your kitchen and food items and all that kind of stuff as well. So it really is just a fun activity, something that you want to kind of approach this with a discovery mindset, with an experimentation mindset. And then at the end of the day, this activity is really going to help you get on track emotionally, energetically, physically, and just really taking that new step forward into your new life and into your new career, okay? And just to give credit where credit is due, some people who helped show me the importance of this in the past, right? Greg McEwen, Carrie Peters, Patty Brightman, Stacey Morgenstein, Connie Hatch, especially their book, How to Say No Without Feeling Guilty. As you're gonna know, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to protect our time, right? We're gonna have to clear the clutter in our schedule as well. And so these are just some people who helped me show me the importance of this. And so I just wanna go ahead and give credit where credit is due. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive in. The first thing we're gonna go ahead and touch on is, why is this important, right? There are a couple points that I wanna go ahead and point out before we actually jump into this. And the very first one here is that many studies have already proven that physical objects actually take up space in our mind. And so if we do not clear the clutter, right? If you have so many physical objects everywhere, then what you don't realize is that that's actually taking up space in your thinking capacity, that's taking up space in your decision-making capacity, and it's taking up your ability to be able to thrive, right? And so many of you might be thinking, okay, hey, we're in a business program, we're in a money program, like just teach me how to do that. But remember, the theme of this entire first module is setting your foundations. It's setting you up for success. And this is a part of that, because you will not be successful with the money part of this program unless you actually be able to get these foundations in properly, okay? The second point on here is that your external world is a reflection of your internal world, okay? So what we're gonna be doing by changing our external world is we're actually going to then it's going to be a reflection to go ahead and reverse engineer back to our internal world, right? So we're telling our internal mind to get ready, right? We're telling our internal mind that there is change coming from an internal perspective, right? You're going to have to change your thoughts, your beliefs, your patterns of thinking, your habits, right? Internally. And so how we're doing that is we're going ahead and sending that signal from our external world, okay? So that internal shift is so important because you're going to be encountering many new ideas, concepts, people's opportunities, right? And you're going to want to make sure that you're able to bring in that space so that way you can implement that in your health, in your life, and inside of your career, okay? The third point on here is that if we do not prioritize our lives, then somebody else will. And somebody else is not going to prioritize it for us. They're going to prioritize it for themselves, okay? And so the world has its own agenda. And so until we prioritize our lives first, we are not going to be able to get what we want done. The world is going to go ahead and have us do what they want to have done, right? And so when we go ahead and accept the unwelcome invitation of tasks and projects that we don't care about, what we do is we end up having less time to ourselves to do the things that we do care about, right? And so what we're going to be doing in this activity is really clearing that space up so that way we can really have the time to do more of the things that we want. And that can include things like spending more time with your kids, right? Relaxing with your spouse, right? Investing in this new career, building a business, volunteering. And so we really need to be able to clear that clutter in our environment. We need to clear that in our schedule. We need to clear that in our money. And that's exactly the 3 areas of life that we are going to be touching base on in this activity just in a little bit. But first, I just wanted to go ahead and enforce why these are important points to remember, okay? Next up, and the last 2 points that I have on here is that in case of cabin pressure emergency, make sure to put on your mask first before assisting others. This is why it's also very important to do this activity, is because you need to be able to help yourself first, because if you do not, you will not have anything left over to help others, okay? And so sometimes that means as you go through this activity, as you're gonna see, as you start to clear commitments out of your schedule, as you start to clear out physical objects out of your proximity, it means that you are going to have to be selfish in the short term, which is going to allow you to then be selfless in the long term. Okay, that's going to be very, very, very important, because nobody is helped by you being beat, worn, frustrated, and annoyed because you gave away all of your time, you gave all away your physical space, you gave away everything, every resource that you had. There's nothing worse than that. Okay, and so at the end of the day, also, if you do not clear out the clutter, if everything is important, then that means that nothing actually is. And so what we need to do inside of this activity that we're about to talk about here in a second is we need to eliminate as much as we can for the sake of what is actually important. Because if we don't, we're going to lose sight of what's actually important with all of the clutter that doesn't matter. Okay, so bottom line, what we're doing here is we are creating space for our new lives inside of this activity together. Awesome. Now let's go ahead and talk really quickly about how to clear the clutter, right? I'm gonna here in a second be giving you specific places in your life that you're gonna be clearing the clutter, but how exactly, what is the mindset that you're gonna be approaching so that way you can be successful with clearing all of this clutter out? So this is the kind of example that I want you to think about. So that way it really helps put you in the right frame of mind when we think about this, okay? What I want you to do is I want you to think of this activity doing to your life what a professional organizer would do to your closet, okay? So think about it, is that whenever you don't organize your closet, right, what ends up happening? Does it just stay neat and then all of those outfits that you have, they just stay on the hangers? Of course not, right? When you don't make any conscious effort to keep things organized in your closet, things become messy, they become cluttered, things just pile up inside of your closet, right? And so in science, we call this entropy. Entropy means that any system, the universe as a whole, is always leaning towards chaos and disorganization. Okay. And so in the same way that our closet gets cluttered with clothes whenever we, don't keep up with it, we don't, organize it, the same thing happens to our lives. Okay, they get cluttered with commitments and activities that we've said yes to, and those things just pile up over time. And so unless we take out the time to be able to purge and revisit those decisions, I sometimes call them legacy decisions, right? Decisions that we made and were important to us at a specific time, but they're no longer important to us, then once it happens, they end up sitting there on our schedule, on our bills, on our whatever, without any expiration date, okay? And so there's a couple of things that we need to keep in mind in order to be able to actually do this successfully, okay? So there's 3 steps that I've gone ahead and outlined on here. And step number 1 is going to be about exploring, and it's going to be about evaluating, okay? So the very first thing we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna evaluate inside of our environment, inside of our schedule, inside of our money. We're gonna go ahead and see, okay, what are the things that I can start clearing out inside of these key areas of my life, right? Now, most people, when they look into doing this activity, they ask themselves, okay, well, is there a chance that I'm going to wear or use this someday, right? This is talking about the closet example, okay? So when people are clearing out their closet, okay, let's say they're clearing out their closet and they say, is there a chance that I'm going to wear or use this someday? And here's the thing, that's actually the wrong question, because is there a chance that you're going to use it? The answer to that is, yeah, there might be a chance, right? It's too broad of a question. Instead, if you asked a more disciplined question, which was more of like, do I absolutely love this, right? Do I actually wear this often? You see how it's a little bit more specific, right? And then if the answer to that question is no, then you know that from step number one, the answer to that question is that, hey, it's a candidate for elimination, right? In our personal and professional lives, right, when we talk about with our time, with our money, those kinds of things, right, we ask, will this activity that I'm allocating my time to, will this task that I'm allocating my time to, will it make the highest possible contribution towards my goal? If the answer to that question is no, then what that means is that it is a candidate for elimination. Doesn't mean you have to eliminate it. It just means that it's a potential elimination candidate, okay? Then what we do is we get over here to step number 2, which is we take all of those candidates that we had for elimination, and this is where we actually have to make the tough decision to actually eliminate those things, right? And remember, we're about to do this activity together, and we're gonna do this activity in 3 places, right? We're gonna do this inside of our environment, we're gonna do this activity together inside of our schedule, and we're gonna do this activity together inside of our money, right? We're gonna get rid of some things that we might be spending money on as well. And the reason why eliminating things is so difficult is because of something called sunk cost bias. And what that means is that we tend to value things that we already own more highly than those things that we don't actually own, right? And so as a result, we actually have difficulty getting rid of them. Right. Sometimes I remember we had a student of ours was telling me a story the other day where his mom actually bought a car for about $900, and she has been basically spending $3,000 to $4,000 a year maintaining that car, and she just will instead she could have got another car, but because of sunk cost bias, she says, you know what, I've already invested so much money inside of this car, I might as well just keep it. And so that's an example of what sunk cost bias is. And so that fear of, what if I regret doing this? What if I'm actually going to wear this down the road, right? And so as a result, we end up not being able to get rid of that old T-shirt, that old thing that we just keep hanging on to. In the case of the closet example, right? Now, how to be able to succeed with this step is to ask ourselves the question: if I did not already own this item, right? If I did not already own this item that's in my closet, how much would I spend sometime in the future in order to buy this again? If you're like, no, I would never buy this, I would never ever buy this, I would never spend money on it, right? Then you know that you should just get rid of it. Likewise, the same thing in the rest of our lives. We ask, if I already didn't have this opportunity on my calendar, right? If I didn't already have this thing scheduled for me to hang out with my friends and family, if I didn't have this thing scheduled to hang out with, Tina or whatever, right? What would I be willing to do in order to be able to have this opportunity? If the answer is I would do nothing, I don't really care about it, then you should probably get rid of it, right? And so that's an example here of step number 2. And then finally here in step number 3, what we have is the actual execution of it. So just because we made the decision to eliminate, what we actually have to do is we actually have to go ahead and get rid of it now. And so what that means in the case of our closet is that we have to actually put the stuff in the large bag, we have to know where to drop it off, we have to schedule the time to drop it off, and we have to get it done. Right? And so in the case of our lives, that might actually mean scheduling a conversation with your spouse, siblings, parent, or family and say, hey, I'm embarking on this new endeavor. I'm starting this new career. I'm starting this new training, and I'm going to need time. I can't do bingo nights on Tuesday nights anymore or whatever it is, because it's just not as valuable to me as actually being able to invest in this new career, right? It might actually mean logging in and canceling that subscription. You actually have to execute in order to clear the clutter. So this is absolutely important, okay? Now, the other thing about this is that unfortunately, our lives are not as easy as our closet. Truth is, the closet and clothes, when you put them there, they actually stay there. But then imagine if every time you opened the doors for your closet, you found that other people had shoved their clothes inside of our closet, right? Every morning you cleaned it up, and then by evening you found that other people have stuffed more stuff in there, right? That's what our lives are actually like. Our closets, okay, we clear it out. Other people don't necessarily always stuff into our closets, but our lives, people are just forcing, their stuff into our closet of life as well. And so what we're going to be doing here in this activity is really clearing out the closet of our life, okay? So a couple key rules to remember here. If it isn't a definite 100% yes, then it should be a no. If I didn't already own this, how much would I spend to buy it in the future? If I didn't have this opportunity, what would I be willing to do in the future to acquire it? And then how you do one thing is how you do everything. This is a very crucial rule. I love this rule. I always remember it, is that if I'm messy in my personal life, I'm going to be messy in my professional life. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And then, is there any clutter in this area of life that I'm about to explore that needs clearing so that I can set the stage for moving forward in my remote wellness journey? Okay, so without further ado, I know I hyped this entire thing up for 15 minutes into the training. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Area number one that we're going to be clearing up is our environment. Okay, and so with our environment, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and ask ourselves, if a future remote wellness client were to walk into my office or workspace today, what would they think? Okay, this is the frame that we're approaching this in. And so what you want to do, and it's going to be a part of the action steps inside of this training, is you want to go ahead and consider 4 areas on there. You want to go ahead and consider 4 areas of your environment. Okay, you want to go ahead and clear your desk. You want to clear your floor, you want to clear your inbox, and you want to clear your phone, right? Sometimes we have a bunch of stuff sitting on our desk. We were, working on a project or whatever, and it actually ends up taking too much space. You want to go ahead and clear all of that out and clear all of that up. Now, if you don't have an office, right, maybe you're using a bedroom or any other area in your home to be able to go through this training, you want to apply what it is that we're talking about with clearing your environment to that area as well. Remember, your external world is a reflection of your internal world, okay? So the more ruthless that you are with making sure that your environment is clean, it means that your brain is going to be clean. It's going to mean that you have more clarity and attention that you can spend towards building your income, your business, and your future, okay? So this is why we call it paying attention. Right? What are you spending your attention on? And so physical objects in our environment take up that attention. So if you can be ruthless about clearing those things, that is going to serve you. So that is the first area in which you are going to make sure that you are clearing the clutter, which is clearing the clutter inside of your environment. Okay, so you want to go ahead and, if you want to go through this entire training and then do that, or go ahead and pause this training and do that now, you can do so from there. Okay, awesome. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is talk about area number 2, which is clearing your schedule. Now this is a big one. This is a very, 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 very important one. Okay, because the frame that you want to be going ahead and looking at for this area that you're going to be clearing from is, what does someone who has financial freedom value in their time? Okay, what signal am I sending to my subconscious brain about how I value my time? Do I just give it away freely? Right? And so what you want to do is you want to go ahead and take a look at your schedule, at your calendar, at your time commitments for the entire week. And you want to go ahead and do 4 things right now. Okay. The very first thing you want to go ahead and do, let me go ahead and clear this, get a little bit of a smaller point so that way it's easier to write. There we go. So first thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and cancel. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and look over the next 7 days, and what is one activity that you can say no to? Right? Because you're going to be needing that attention to be able to build your new career and your new income, right? Look at all of the obligations, look at the ones you might be dreading, and ask yourself, if I didn't have this opportunity, would I be willing to do anything to acquire it, right? What would I be willing to do to acquire it? And if the answer to that question is nothing, then you should cancel it. And the second thing is, what you could do is delegate. And so what is one activity that you can delegate while you are inside of this training, right? For a short time, while you're inside of this training for the next 12 to 16 weeks, what could you do to get more off of your schedule, right? Maybe you have a friend to drive kids to the soccer practice, right? Somebody to watch over your kids while you study, right? Somebody else in the house can do the grocery or the laundry. You can explore Walmart online. They do literally will package and do all your grocery for free. And all you got to do is just go pick it up. There's some amazing options out there. And so many times we think, I have to be the one who does this, when in reality, as long as it gets done, that's all that matters, right? So other people can help do things as well. And so you want to explore what that would look like. Third thing that you want to do is you want to go ahead and schedule your training time. This is very important. You want to go ahead and choose a recurring day of the week and time of the day that you can devote to your studies. This is so important, okay? Think of it kind of like my training meeting, okay? It's like, hey, I have a meeting. I'm sorry, I got a meeting, I'm busy, right? And we're going to talk a little bit more about using the word meeting strategically as well, okay? And the cool thing is that when it's recurring, it becomes a ritual and it becomes a habit. Now, the fourth thing you might want to consider actually prioritizing self-care, right? Looking at your calendar and saying, where do I have in my schedule time for me to be able to feel more content, more relaxed, and more fulfilled? Even if that's only 5 minutes, right? You might be telling me, hey, Coach Yasin, I'm so booked up, I don't have time for anything. Well, you might have 5 minutes, and I'm going to urge you to say, hey, not only do you might have 5 minutes, I guarantee you 100% do have 5 minutes, right? And you have to keep in mind, if I put my mask on first, then things are going to get better for everyone else also, okay? So be ruthless about replying back to your guilt. If you feel guilty about taking time for yourself, you want to make sure that you're replying back to that voice in your head that's making you feel guilty and letting them know that if you prioritize this for yourself, then everything gets better for everyone else as well, okay? On here, I want to go ahead and talk about how to protect your time. One of the key tricks that I've been using for years now at this point is calling things as meetings. Even if it's just spending time with myself, right? I'll tell somebody, hey, I'm sorry, I have a meeting, right? Hey, are you free at this time? Sorry, I already have a meeting scheduled for that time, right? And so you just have to remember that there isn't time for everything in the world, but there is time for the things that we make time for, okay? So you want to make sure that you are ruthless in how you spend your time and attention, because like we said, it's about how you are paying attention, right? You only have a finite amount of attention and you're paying it every single time. And so you just want to make sure that commitments and tasks, they take up a lot of attention. So you want to make sure that you are auditing them and making sure that you are careful and before you bring them into your life, okay? The third and final area of your life for this activity is clearing your money, okay? And the frame that you want to go ahead and approach this with is, am I creating the money habits of someone with financial freedom, okay? What signal am I sending to my subconscious brain in how I value money? Okay? Because here's the truth. Money loves those who care for it. Money loves those who value it, right? Money will flow to those who care about it. And so those who care of money tend to have more of it. Okay? These are some of your money beliefs. So we're going to talk more about beliefs in the upcoming module where we talk about brain training, but I'm just priming your brain to start thinking differently about money. And this clearing the clutter area of your life will help you with that. Okay? And so here are 5 ways that we can start valuing money differently, that you can start exploring inside of this activity. The very first thing is making a list of all of the money that is owed to you. If you don't actually make a list of all the people, all the places, all the businesses that owe money to you, you're sending the signal out that, hey, you know what? I don't really care about money because there's money out there that is owed to me and I don't really care about it. So what you can do is I want you to take a sheet of paper and potentially think about writing down every person or place that owes you money, right? Is there a place like on Amazon that you were expecting a refund that you didn't get? Or did you actually get that refund, right? Was there a subscription that you canceled but didn't actually get canceled and you need to go in and do it, right? Maybe there's somebody who owes you money and it's time for you to go say, hey, do you remember this whole thing about money that you're supposed to owe me? So that way you can go ahead and look at the money that is owed to you, right? Looking at gift cards. Maybe you have a bunch of gift cards that you are not valuing. You're just kind of throwing them away. You want to kind of maybe explore on spending them or using them in the next 7 days, obviously on things that you already knew you were going to buy, not just getting a bunch of extra stuff. Because like we talked about, extra stuff takes up space in the mind, right? Looking up at any loose money that you might have, right? And saying, okay, maybe it's time for me to deposit that in the bank, maybe exchange it for some bigger bills, maybe use it up in the next 7 days so that way it just doesn't get disrespected and thrown around, right? Again, not on extra stuff, but on things you're already going to get. Maybe it's time to go ahead and look at your bank statement and your credit card statement and looking at charges that you did not expect to see. I cannot tell you how few people actually do this and how much money, literally hundreds of dollars a month or a year, that you can save if you do this, right? There's so many times that we sign up for free trials that we forget to cancel. And so this is another point that you can do inside of this activity. And then finally, look at your wallet, right? Look at where your money lives. Is your money, how are you treating it? Is your wallet all torn up? Maybe think about replacing it, right? Because that's showing that you respect money. You give attention to money, right? And so remember, how we do one thing is how we do everything. And so if we disrespect money in our personal life, you're going to be doing the same thing in your professional life as well. And that's exactly why we're doing this activity, to clear the clutter out of our money, okay? Now, in terms of your action steps, I'm going to go ahead and make a plea to you. I'm going to urge you, really do this activity. I know you can just go through the training and you can kind of just watch this. You can say, okay, you know what? That's great. I don't really need to do this, whatever. I would really urge you to start making this space for your new career, for your new higher income, for your new confidence and self-esteem, because it's going to help your future self. It's going to help the people that you will be helping in the future. It's going to help your family, Literally, your future is begging you to do it. So please do it, okay? So first thing, go ahead and clear your environment, right? Pick one of the places that we talked about earlier in this training that feels the easiest, and make sure you just go ahead and do that. Whether that be your desk, whether that be your floor, whether it be your inbox, just clear your environment, right? The second place, let's go ahead and clear your schedule, right? Decide, this is gonna be important, decide on your weekly, daily training meeting, right? What time are you gonna do that? Go ahead and schedule that time in right now. Let everybody know, hey, every single day from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., I'm going to be going ahead and working on my training. Every single Saturday, I'm going to be going to the library. I'm going to be going to the bookstore from 12 to 4, right? Whatever that might be, make sure you go ahead and schedule that and commit to that, okay? Next one is on here, clearing your schedule. Pick one of the places that we talked about in terms of clearing your schedule that feels the easiest to do, and do that. And then pick one that feels the hardest to do and do that as well, okay? And so those are gonna be for clearing your schedule. And then probably a fifth one that I'm gonna go ahead and add on here right now for you is going to be clear your money, right? Pick one of the places that we talked about and do it, right? Whether that be your wallet, whether that be subscriptions, whether that be looking at your credit card bills and all that kind of stuff, I would urge you to go ahead and do that as well, okay? Now, I know some of this activity, especially the one about clearing your schedule, maybe canceling some commitments that you might have with friends or family, I know those feel difficult to you, and they may feel difficult to you, but really for the sake of your future self, your future family, your future clients, I would urge you to make those tough decisions so that way you can clear out the old and make space for the new, okay? And then finally, inside of the comments of the student community, we would love to hear from you. What part of this activity, what part of the clearing the clutter activity was most transformational for you, right? What part do you think that you struggled with the most, and what part was most transformational for you? Again, remember, this is your opportunity to engage. We love to hear from the students, and we do read all of the comments. So we would love to hear what part of this activity was the best and what part was the hardest for you as well. With that being said, I will catch you on the next training.